Hi team, welcome to the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Coming up, we talk about patch 5.1.2, but first, some other game and guild news. Our broadcast astromech today is EPC 183, who will thankfully be receiving significantly increased CXP points for riding this escape pod today. So you got that going for you, buddy. And we'll hear all about significantly increased CXP bonuses in a little bit. But first, with me as always is SEMA. Hi SEMA, how's it going?
Hey Max, going very well. I'm glad we're doing a podcast tonight because it's a cheerful, cheery thing to do. This last week in SWTOR, I did not do a lot. It was kind of a SWTOR light week for me, but we did take a run through Dread Palace on Thursday night with our regular ops team. It's actually been a while since I was in Dread Palace, so that was pretty fun, other than a few times when we just went into, do Bestia ads for a while. But yeah, and it went really smoothly. So that was fun. But I did not do Conquest last week, and I'm not doing Conquest this week. We'll see what happens next week. As far as Command XP, I'm actually just on the verge of getting into Tier 2, so I'm excited about that.
Nice.
So yeah, that was my week. How about you, Max?
I did also have fun in Dread Palace. That was pretty cool. I had fun with Xeno Analyst tonight. I had fun with the world bosses on Ilum. Those are pretty cool. And then we went and chased down a commander, a conquest commander, and we found a name commander. We had like 10 minutes left, and we found a name commander, and we got a framework off of them and a bunch of encryptions. So we're gonna send those to the guild ship. So that was pretty cool. And I have been doing quite a bit of Command XP. And really I didn't really feel like I was overdoing it. But so 2 weeks ago when we talked last, I was about 81 or 82, I believe. And now I'm 165. So apparently I did quite a bit. And it was all GSF and PvP, pretty much. So 2 weeks ago on the weekend, I didn't have much going on, and I did a lot. I did enough to do almost 100K in Conquest, just grinding PvP and GSF, and having fun, flipping between them. You know what it was, is that weekend was also, one day was PvP as the bonus objective, and the next day was GSF as the bonus objective for Saturday and Sunday. And then
I tell you what,
weekend,
though, that was a lot of Command XP for the Xeno Analyst.
It was almost 3,000. It was like 2,500 for the Xeno Analyst. And
then the little world bosses were 750 each too.
Oh, were they 750 each? So I think I did 2 ranks tonight even to get up to this 165. So as you can see, not as you can see if you're listening to this on audio, but I have 54 command crate, tier 2 command crates in my inventory, which I will be opening. I probably won't even get through all of them during the podcast, but it's just as a little visual thing on the side. If you're watching this on YouTube or live on Twitch, you will get to see me open some of these, at least as much as I can concentrate and still talk while I'm disintegrating most of what comes out of them. But I'll probably get another couple. Here's the thing, when there's this many, I'm going to be getting more command ranks because I'm going to disintegrate a bunch of stuff. It's going to be like never ending. I'm going to have to keep opening more packs. I'm never going to run out of packs. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing, and that has been quite fun. So I've been happy with the bonus, and obviously have gone quite far. I do expect, at this rate, I expect to hit 180 by the end of the week. If we have another sort of clear weekend and I get some more GSF and PvP in, that could certainly happen. So fun. But with that, we can talk about a little bit of news from this week.
Now an Imperial News Network report.
Another email did go out from Eric reinforcing that there have been new waves of closed invites to the PTS that are going out. So what you want to do is check as you go into your account page. If you get a new NDA that pops up, that means you're in. Then you will also be able to launch in Launcher, switch over to the PTS client, and you will see the PTS server if you have been accepted. and check out some of the content that they've put up there, which isn't too much yet, but they're trying to get groups in there to do a little testing of some of the things they announced that are coming in April. And that update, I've heard the rumor is April 10th as the only date I've heard, but that was sort of like a third-hand rumor. Otherwise, they just said end of March, beginning of April. So it should be interesting.
Also this week, patch 5.1.2. So we're going to talk about that more in a couple of minutes. But just to let you know, if you haven't logged into SWTOR yet this week, there is a download with this patch. And it took me about 20 minutes, so not too bad. But yeah, so log in early if you have an ops night or something.
Yep. Also, Eric posted that it's looking good that they will be at Star Wars Celebration this year. They are going to have some more specifics soon-ish. That will be... Oh, it's already going to be in April? Wow.
Yeah.
It's in a month? So
yeah,
April
that's why I was thinking,
13
I don't know if they're that... When you said about April 10th, I'm like, and they're still thinking they might go to Star Wars Celebration.
That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
They're going to have a bugged new operation boss out there, and everybody will be gone. That's interesting. So April 13th, 16th in Orlando this year, not in London. I would have loved to go to that London one.
Yeah.
If this wasn't, well, no, I wouldn't have gone anyway. But I like the idea of going to Orlando when I someday running some of the races down there, like the Disney Marathon. That's something I've thought about from time to time.
What time of year do they do that?
I don't know. I think it's winter. I think it's like January or something, which is
hopefully
not a great time for us Midwesterners, because doing your final training in the month of December is relatively a terrible idea around Chicago.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But yeah, so that sounds interesting. How about guild news?
So I just want to point out that this week in our guild AIE for Conquest, we Arv picked Hoth on the imp side and Aldran on the pub side. So notable, repeatable things for this week: Group Finder Ops, Group Finder Flashpoints, weekly Flashpoint missions from the terminal, weekly Uprising missions from the terminal, War Zones, GSF, and then running the two little baby heroics on Ilum for like 1 point, basically. No, 500 points, but still, not much. There's a bunch of one-time stuff, like the crafting is one-time. Xeno Analysts that we were just talking about is a one-time thing. There's a couple of specific flashpoints that you can do on any difficulty, Battle of Ilum and False Emperor. There's also a couple uprisings that you can do on any difficulty, but these are all ones that are just once. So yeah, basically Group Finder stuff was, and War Zones and GSF is going to be the big ones, big point makers for Conquest.
Pretty interesting. I expect to be doing some GSF. That's I've still been having fun with that. I'm almost mastered on my bomber, and I'm getting pretty good with the bomber. So I'm happy. I still play the scout and the gunship every once in a while, but the bomber is just much more relaxing to play, especially when I can sit on a node, and you can't play the bomber in deathmatch. I don't like playing the bomber in the deathmatch version, but on the 3 satellites, just sitting and defending a satellite, getting some defensive medals, blowing up a couple people that come to tread on my mines. That's pretty cool. So I like that. So let's see. As always, we've got the chat room out there. I want to say thank you to everyone in there. We are having some fun reviewing the old logos that I was putting together for New Overlords, which they pointed out that on the overlay frame for our podcast here, the logo looks like it says 0 New Overlords. So I may have to do some new models of that logo. So I appreciate that. Everybody was voting on some of my old options, and I think I need to create new ones. But I do appreciate you guys being in there. It's always fun to have a group in there doing commentary for us, asking us questions,
yep,
and helping us with hints for what we should be, the correct information we should be giving
yes,
out.
What we should have said instead of what we did say.
Correcting our alternative facts. Thank you.
Yes.
And if you are not, whether or not you're in the chat room, if you'd like to come join us in game, we would certainly love to have you. And we are in Alea Iacta Est, which is a really big, awesome gaming community. It spreads across many games. It does a lot of things in real life together. It has thousands of members. Not all of them are active all the time, but at least hundreds are active at all times. We do meetups across the country. There's going to be one later this year. We're all going to be meeting up for a community event in June that I will be at for Nerdtacular, so that is fun. But we have a ton of fun in game. So we've got a guild on both sides in Star Wars. Please come join us. You can look us up on aie-guild.org, and you can catch officers in game when we're on that faction side with a /cjoinaie-LFO, and we'll get you a guild invite. And with that, we can talk about a little bit of alterations to the deal.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
So what kind of alterations to the deal have we seen today, SEMA? What do we got coming up?
So just looking at the patch notes, the first thing in the patch notes, they mentioned that they are going to have an item for sale so that you can turn off experience gains during this event, because people who had reasons, there was one or two threads asking for that, and I have a feeling it was easy for them to implement, and so they were happy to do it, and that's in 5.1.2. So that's the first thing.
Awesome. Yeah, it works a little bit differently than it did in the past, in that it takes off all of the bonus XP that's currently the multipliers currently give you. They also said, which I liked the sound of, they're doing the right things from a design perspective. They'll be able to basically turn on this vendor anytime they do a bonus XP event from now on.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to go
That's
down
good.
there and
They
grab
should be
it.
doing that.
And
Otherwise, it's just going to be repeating over and over.
You may have already mentioned this because, again, I'm distracted by my crates, but they also said that you don't have to be subscribed to get that item, which you had to in the past. So you can go to that vendor. You don't have to be subscribed to get that item off of that vendor. And that's because these CXP bonuses apply to free-to-play players as well. So there's that. What else, Seema? You want to talk about Tier 4?
There's a note in here about Galactic Starfighter that Requisition is now rewarding at a 250% rate. Was it not doing it before?
Oh, no, so that's Requisition. So it was not. It was doing 200, I think, but not 250. So what Requisition is the bonus points you're getting that you use for unlocks on your ship. The fact that it was 200 instead of 250, it really wasn't that big a deal. There's no reason to ever want to turn that off either. That's sort of like just the experience that unlocks your weapons and upgrades your weapons and your armor and your abilities inside of GSF. Gotcha. So that was interesting. Did you notice? So wait here. So this next one is the size of the purple background behind the player indicator on the minimap has been reduced in size, but not reduced all that much, is it? No, see, they just reduced it a tiny bit.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that they reduced it. It looks exactly the same to me.
Yeah, I think it was bigger because I think there was a little bit of a margin like around your little person on the map, and now there's no margin. So I think they reduced it a little bit.
Well, there you go.
So there you go. I still think that they could get rid of that. What's the use of that? You could see the little purple person.
I'm not sure. It isn't. I don't remember seeing any, threads of people begging for their little purple person to be more visible on the map. So I don't know what this was an answer to.
I also noticed a bunch of other circles for everything else on the map now too. Like when you hit M, that I didn't. Maybe they were in before, and I wasn't even paying attention. But like down here where there's a quest available or there's quest objectives available, all of those have circles around them now. When it used to just be like the little dot icon.
Oh,
Now,
little dot with parentheses around it, or
yeah, and now it's a circle around
Yeah.
anything like that, which
A new
so
system.
when we were on Ilum, all of the green things are all over the map. The map was just filled with those little purple circles, which looked a little ridiculous to me, but I guess that's fine. No, Alexa. Free-to-play chat restrictions have been adjusted in order to help address third-party service advertisement spam. What did you think of this one, Seema?
I thought it was mysterious. I don't know if it's been adjusted to do what.
I
guess it's going to be more restrictive.
I think it is more restrictive. I think the rate at which you can speak if you're free to play, the number of times per minute that you can speak, is what's changed. Anything that helps sort of address that issue, I think, is interesting. So I thought they were doing a couple things related to that. It's just part of that ongoing cat and mouse battle they have with credit sellers and credit spammers.
Yeah.
Which is good that they're continuing to think along those lines, because it is annoying. I still get tons of the emails in my little email box. I don't get any of like the whispers.
No, I haven't been getting whispers.
Yeah, I haven't gotten those in a while, but I do see them in general on the fleet, and I do get the emails in my inbox. I was getting some more creative ones this week instead of just the regular M space O space O space C A T parentheses whatever. They do try to obfuscate so it doesn't come up in a regular text filter. Oh, how about this next one? I know you're all over the Warzone.
That's a big one. Well, I heard a lot of people complaining about this, so it looks like they are fixing it, which is that in war zones, area of effects are no longer going to be green if they're from your opponent. So that should make it easier to see which ones to not stand in, although you told me there's so many effects anyway in PvP that you end up standing in anyway, right?
Yeah, so not seeing those, not having all of that stuff be green was a little annoying. Having that being switched, I think, is just fine. It didn't bother me too much in the Warzone, truth be told, but I'm glad that they're sort of fixing that, and I think everybody will be sort of happy with that. How about this next one? You read this next one and tell me what the deal is with that.
I never noticed this, but apparently the chairs on the bridge of the player ships stopped working. And now they're working again.
So this is one of those that when I hear it, I want to like go back. I want to go back to before the patch and try it.
Well, I mean, I remember back in the day when I used to do the space missions, the conventional ones, the old style ones, not the GSF ones, that occasionally I would sit on the chair when I meant to click on the galaxy map. But that's the only time I've ever sat in that chair. Right.
But now I'll have to go do it because obviously I've not been taking advantage of the ability that we now have.
We'll have to go sit on the ship.
And then this next one also, and I highlighted this one green because it sounds really exciting and I have no idea what it means.
Yeah, I don't know what this one means either.
A groove sensor repairman has been dispatched to address a malfunctioning droid at the Alliance base. What now? What? Does anyone in the chat room know what that means? I have no idea what that. The Alliance base. So wait, a malfunction. Groove sensor repairman has been dispatched to address a malfunctioning droid at the Alliance base. So this is the Alliance base on Odessan?
Is it that the droid lost its groove? Or did it get stuck in a groove in the floor?
Yeah, I don't know. So maybe somebody can track down what that means. Yeah, that's a good one. Maybe we should walk around the Alliance base. Well, we're not going to know what it is now because it's been fixed, whatever it is.
I want to go back in time.
Okay, so this next section is actually quite exciting to me.
Yes.
So why don't you get into it and we can talk
Okay.
about it. So,
So
this
this
is
is
the meat of this patch, really.
Yeah, so basically they were talking about how they were going to increase the command experience points that you get from operations. That's actually the biggest thing for me because I think that's where I get the bulk of my CXP anyway, is doing ops. Also increasing command experience from boss and mini boss encounters. And I think we saw that tonight when we did those world bosses on Ilum. That was a pretty big chunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So
Right.
I guess each operation has been adjusted to give. I mean, they've looked at the total command experience you get for the whole op for each operation too. So, I mean, I'm kind of anxious to go and try it and see how it's looking now because, yeah, that's one of the most fun things in the game for me is the operations.
Yeah, so this was part of their effort. Now, have they gone down to 250 from 350? I thought that was going to happen as part of this too. So what the deal was, see, it's still a bonus, isn't it? It's still at 250. So and the tooltip still says 250. So I think what it was is they decided up until this point that they were going to be at 350, and now they were going back down to a 250% CXP bonus that's still running and is going to run at least through April. They temporarily went up to 350 until they got these things in, and this is the direction that they wanted to go to equalize, to normalize where they want the CXP gain to sort of be in general. They're even going to make more tweaks to it in April. That 250% bonus, in theory, would be going away, but there would potentially be more tweaks to each of the objectives that you would be going after to, again, normalize to a rate that's certainly higher than it was before 5.1, but maybe not as high as it is right at the moment. So we'll have to see where that falls. But the fact that they're doing the operations in particular got boosted, and the bonus for completing the operation, the total command experience for a full clear has been adjusted. This one, that bullet though, I thought was interesting. Total command experience for a full clear has been adjusted on a per operation basis. Does that mean that Karaga's Palace, for example, because it's faster and shorter, is potentially less for a full clear than something that's harder, even though it might have the same number of ops bosses? What is your thoughts on that? That's sort of how I'm reading that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see because I mean what we view as easier or faster might not be the same thing that they view as not worth as many points.
That's also interesting and true. But I could see things like doing Temple of Sacrifice versus Karaga's Palace. It would make sense to me that Temple of Sacrifice, because it's harder, would yield more, and you want the harder things in the game to yield more. So now the chat room is saying that all ops appear to be the same amount. So I don't know what they mean then by the per operation basis. Maybe it's not.
Well,
except Temple of Sacrifice. So all ops appear to be around 7,600 in general for clearing the operation, except Temple of Sacrifice is what Zen says, which appears to be 8,360 from looking at the missions on the terminal. Okay, so there we go. I think then there's the opportunity for them to adjust, and maybe they're leaving their options open to do further adjustments operation to operation to say if it is significantly harder, something like Temple of Sacrifice, then we can adjust for that and still make it worthwhile to go after it and do that, so that people aren't never doing Temple of Sacrifice because it's harder. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's one thing about this whole system that they said from the beginning is that they have set it up so they can make adjustments when, you know, they decided adjustments should be made.
Yeah.
It seems like in this they had to do a patch for it, but they're doing a sweep through everything. But if they had one thing, for instance, that needed an adjustment, it might just be, you know, a bullet on some patch notes on some week. It wouldn't have to be a whole big content release, hopefully.
Yeah. So that looks pretty interesting. Oh, look, I got a set bonus in my command pack and a Coriolis Baron mount. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, right. And in chat, Zen just said, with CXP, they can basically make us do whatever they want.
You're absolutely right. That is...
For example, snowball. Yeah, we were all throwing snowballs when they gave... when the possibility of command XP was there. That's true. Although
oh gosh, see, I should pay attention. I almost hit the disintegrate button on that set piece and that mount. That would have been terrible. Maybe I should not be doing this while we're talking.
I wouldn't be able to.
It's scarier that way.
I have one crate in my inventory. I'm not opening it until while I'm trying to read and talk at the same time.
But yeah, so I think that's an excellent point, Zen. They can make us dance like puppets by tweaking those CXP gains, which they totally can. Right now, a lot of people are just repeating the chapters over and over because they can breeze through veteran mode chapter 1 of Knights of the Fallen Empire, and within 8 to 10 minutes be getting a stack of CXP. Okay, all they need to do is nerf that, and increase what it is, whatever the bonus is for throwing snowballs or whatever they want the next thing to do, and we will all dance to their tune, apparently. However, back to game theory, game design, them tricking you into playing the game a different way is still you playing a game, so you got that going for you.
Yeah. It's better than like shoveling the driveway or doing yard work.
Yeah, doing dishes. I like the fact that the gains for flashpoints and uprisings, for the weekly missions in particular, have been increased significantly, and those are big. And all flashpoint mission command experience rewards have been increased as well. I haven't done flashpoints in a while, and even when they come up as a bonus. But if it's significant enough, again, they can make us do what they want. But they make it significant enough, maybe I'll go back and be doing some flashpoints again.
Yeah, I mean, they basically made me get interested in heroics again first by making them so worthwhile regular EXP wise. I was using them for leveling and other things, but now with CXP and for so yes, correct. You can get us to do almost anything except GSF in my case.
PvP. Yes, almost. Almost anything, although what if they gave pets out?
That would be completely different. If they gave pets or mounts, that would
there you go.
That would be a whole different bag of bananas.
So let's see what else. How about this last bullet? I think we noticed this because people were like gaining command ranks. This was 2 weeks ago. We were in Ravagers.
Yeah.
So this bullet says the Reign of Pain ability used by B055, which is the boss in the Ravagers operation, no longer grants command experience. I don't know what the mechanic was, but yeah, the Reign of Pain would come down, and there were people like getting command ranks during Reign of Pain. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd hear somebody go, "Okay, run out of the red," and somebody else would say, "Hey, I just leveled." But when I saw this bullet and I was reading it, I thought that it was going to be something about the effect of Reign of Pain, like they're making it smaller or they're making it brighter or something like that. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. They're working on that fight. Oh yeah, command experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I had a little thought that I hope I hope the fact that we were wiping on that fight for like a half hour 2 weeks ago didn't like earn us a red flag in the exploders.
I'm not worried about that at all because we
Yeah,
always wipe
no.
on that fight.
Right, right. That's
And by
us
we,
taking a
I'm
new.
talking about MFN night where this, which is our open ops night, we don't always make it to the end of any
and
operation. So
and that fight's just messy for a group that hasn't been in there before with 16 people.
yeah,
Because you just have a
yeah.
lot of people and there's just not very much space to maneuver with all those orange circles and then the blue circles, and those are overlapping, and then the boss comes down and he's doing his ring of fire, and that just gets a little
Stand in the
messy.
laser and turn the big guy away and the big yellow. Yeah, it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, see, DP Roberts said he even submitted a bug report for the Reign of Pain. DP Roberts is the hero we deserve, or the hero we need right
Yes, he
now, or
is.
one of the.
And the hero we need, and the hero we want. He's
Yes,
everything.
he is. All right, I'll read off the Warzone ones because I know SEMA will just fall asleep trying to even read through this boring Warzone crap.
I'll wake up when there's a bullet that says there are now pets available from
pets
Warzones.
for Warzones. Ranked and unranked daily and weekly missions now award a fixed number of unassembled components for completion, and the amount of unassembled components earned for a win or loss during ranked and unranked Warzones has been increased. There's a more detailed post in the forums that Eric put out that shows that rate of unassembled components. And it looks a little something like this, where everything's going up about 10 to 20% in the number of unassembled components you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
So Warzone win is now up to 8 from 5, so that's almost 50%. The daily you get 12, which you weren't getting any for the daily before, and the weekly you're getting 40, which you weren't getting any from the weekly before. I think there's some good points in this thread. There's a lot of commentary where people are saying, "This isn't nearly enough. What the hell's wrong with you?" That's still, I'll never fill in all my armor slots, using this method with this rate. You need to go up a whole lot more than that. And then if you keep reading down in the thread, there's people saying, which is sort of my point, this is not the primary method for gearing up your character. The CXP packs are still the primary method. This is to fill in the gaps. So you still may have bad luck, and that the randomness of the CXP packs may still be painful. But yes, this would take a long time if you were going to fill every single slot on your character using only unassembled components from Warzones. It would take you quite a long time. However, you're getting CSP packs, you're getting command crates along the way. That whole time as well, you should be getting gear from those crates too. And even if it's green, 232 gear or whatever, or 228 gear or whatever, that's better than not 192 or whatever you leveled up with. So the green gear, the blue gear, those are all upgrades, whether you like it or not. Your set bonuses, that's the painful part, and some classes really need the set bonus. So this will help you get those few set pieces that you need, hopefully, to fill in to complete your 6-piece set. But even there, you only need 6 pieces to get your maximum, and you don't necessarily need all 6 pieces right away. And if you have any 220 or 224 armorings from before that have the set bonus on them, keep them in. Just use those. That's that set bonus then, with just having a 224 armoring with a 232 blue mod and enhancement, is a good deal. So, and that's a good little armor mix to tide you along until you get to tier 3.
I did read a couple of comments from people, and I hadn't really thought about this at all this way, but they were PvE people, but they were using this method for gearing up because they're not quote-unquote nightmare raiders. So they felt that they were being funneled into this method for getting the good gear. And I was like, well, I mean, if you're not nightmare raiders, then why do you need the gear? I guess one thing. But anyway, it was just a new way of looking at it for me. So for them, it's the only way to get the set bonus gear at the highest level, I guess.
I guess if they're saying that that they have terrible luck, and starting at 181, command tier rank 181, they just get no set pieces, and they're, like, I mean, again, I did 80 command ranks in 2 weeks, and it's not going to necessarily forever be this dramatic of a command XP bonus, but I didn't play it all yesterday. I there's multiple days this week where I didn't log on at all during the day. It's not like I'm playing for hours every day. So I did 80 command ranks in 2 weeks. So at 40 command ranks a week, I think you probably get a couple set pieces. You don't have to use this method. You'll get set pieces out of those crates. You just will. If you don't, then you're a winner. You're a winner of the bad roll lottery. So count yourself a winner as far as that goes.
I want to win something else, though. I don't want to win that thing.
I know. Okay, so there's that, but then this also leads to the next piece of the discussion, which I think then gets to a whole nother level of angst. So why don't you talk to us about what Eric posted about Tier 4, SEMA?
So over the weekend, there's something that came out on social media, but Eric posted a very short post saying there's going to be basically more info coming. But yes, there is going to be a Tier 4. So they're adding Tier 4 gear and another 100 command ranks to Galactic Command. So that's going to be coming in Game Update 5.2. The Tier 4 command crates, they'll work a little bit differently from the tiers we have now. They say that we'll more consistently get set bonus gear in Tier 4. They also are still tweaking tiers 1 through 3 to make the leveling gearing experience better. I'm not sure exactly what better means, but as usual, I mean, he's saying there's going to be more, hard data coming later. Let's see what else. Basically, this is coming as a result of feedback, so that's good. But yes, what people are feeling weird about is the new 100 ranks, like, especially if they feel like they've finished Galactic Command and now there's another 100 ranks. It's like, oh my God, now I have to do this all over again. I mean, what do you think about that, Max?
Good question. And then I think Zen in the chat room has an interesting point too, so Zen's point was that it was clumsy communication. That I agree with, especially after the fact. They dropped a bomb on the weekend.
Yeah. Why would they do that?
And they just dumped it out in a tweet. And anticipate the problematic, get the FAQ ready, get anticipate the objections, and head that off at the pass. That's the best way to do that. That said, getting to my opinion of where it is and where it's going, and the fact that this will then be sort of like in that April time frame, and I've said this before, I want the command ranks to go on forever. And if there's more tiers associated with them and more tiers of gear, if I wanted it to be done, if I wanted to log in and be at max level and have max gear, all my characters are max be at max level and have max gear and have a more balanced player versus player experience, I would go play Overwatch. Then I'm at max level and I have max gear, right? I play for progression, and I would think that most MMO players would want to have some kind of progression that you could keep progressing and keep going after. If you're just you just want to be done, what do you want to be done for? There's no reason to be done. So, I don't know. I could see it being frustrating because it still takes a long time, and not everybody is even up to tier 2 yet. that
I
feels painful, I guess.
I have a couple thoughts about that. One is that they did say from the very beginning that they might add more ranks, and that after you reach that there is no real max, it's just a number, that you'll continue to get crates and CXP after you hit rank 300. This is just a way of, for those people that have hit 300 already, to actually continue to progress. I mean, they're going to do all the same things and still get CXP and still get crates, but now they can also progress in levels. I mean, that's really all it is. I mean, they could have added 1,000 new levels and it wouldn't change anything from my perspective. However, having said that, I do understand the feeling of if you've been grinding more than you want to play, but you've been grinding with this goal in mind and you've made it, and now they're moving the goalposts. I understand that feeling of frustration that you think you achieved something and now you've only achieved 3/4 of it. I get that.
Yeah.
But I do think it's not like you were going to get a new pony at level 300, but then they took the pony away and said, no, you're not going to get it now until 400. You're going to get all the same stuff.
Yeah. You're going to get all the things that you got at 300 and all the stuff you're getting up until 300 and all of the tier 3 armor sets and all of your 240 gear or whatever. That's all still valid, and you don't need anything beyond that to do any of the current content in the game. Now, there's new content coming, and that's interesting, and maybe it's worth it to have another tier associated with some of that new content, and maybe that...
Yeah, maybe they're making the 3rd and 4th ops boss of this year to be significantly more difficult and require another tier of gear.
I think I just killed something over here. Oh, I'm not. I hadn't moved, so it logged me out of the game. Yeah. So, as always, I can see both sides. I like the idea of progression. I think it's potentially more inflammatory and gonna be more painful and a source of angst for a lot of people. And in some ways, that's justified. I tend to come down more on the side of not minding this stuff because it's a game and it's a reason to play the game. And I don't mind more reasons to play the game. And I know a lot of people sort of disagree with the way I come down, and you're on this side most of the time as well, SEMA. I know a lot of people sort of disagree, and they think BioWare is going the wrong direction with some of this stuff, but I don't mind it. I guess that's my summary.
I don't mind it.
I don't.
For me personally, 300 is so far away anyway. I mean, I won't be in that gap of
yeah,
300.
I feel a little bad not minding it because now I'm at 165, and I cranked through so many levels. But I feel like it wasn't that hard to do, and I know there's people that are just, if they want a bunch of ranks, they just put on Netflix and they run through Chapter 1 on Veteran, and they get tons of ranks. If you wanted to do that, and if that's what you're going for, or you just play the game and the stuff will come when it comes, and that's cool too. We all get together and we play the game, and we're all doing pretty good. If maybe it's different for Nightmare Progression Raiders, and this is potentially going to be a challenge for them to have to get it to a full tier 4 set if they want to be optimized for doing the new boss when it comes out in April. But that's part of the game for them too. It shouldn't necessarily be instant. You always have the best gear, because why would it matter then? Because then you would just one-shot the boss and you'd stop playing. So have a reason to play and progress and try it. If you're that awesome, then do it in 230 gear. What do you need any extra gear for? Do it in 192s. Do it naked.
I mean,
good, right?
I remember having a discussion with this one guy a long time ago, and the context was wow. I mean, this was before SWTOR was even created. And he was saying they shouldn't add new levels with the new X Pack. You should just stay level 60 or level 65, whatever you were at the point. And I remember thinking, well, what would be the point of an X Pack if I didn't get more levels? It just doesn't compute. So I guess I do have that MMO frame of mind where I want to be progressing. I want to be working towards something. And when I do work towards something that's taken me a while to achieve and I achieve it, I do start looking around almost immediately for the next thing. It's not like I go, yay, time for a margarita. I really
Right.
don't.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going
Yeah.
to
I
go
mean,
sit on the couch now.
it's sort of like a bittersweet moment because now you've gotten the thing, you've reached the end, and now what do? You sort of come up for air and you give yourself a little pat on the back, and then you realize, all right, well that sort of fun I was having, chipping away at this goal, the fun really was in the journey, and now that journey's over, and that sort of sucks.
And life is like that.
It is. It's also like a box of chocolates, from what I understand. Stop and smell the roses, or it will pass you by.
The coffee or
something. Something.
Dark side.
something complete. All right. Well, I think that is a good summary. As you disagree and want to articulate why I'm a moron for this perspective, feel free to reply in the comments.
Just make sure you articulate it.
Yes. Don't tell me you're unsubbing because of this, but rather follow Ghostcrawler's advice and articulate a well-reasoned post in the forums, and hope that gets picked up by the community managers, which is basically his advice. I think maybe we didn't talk about that on the podcast. Tio and Chill talked about it on OtiniCast, that another famous game designer who's now in League of Legends but came from Blizzard talked about the idea of rage quitting and saying I'm unsubbing, and that trying to use that as a motivating factor to provide feedback to a game company typically doesn't work given the kinds of statistics that they see. And Ghostcrawler, coming from two large game companies, has said that's usually way, way down the list of any sort of feedback for why people really are unsubbing in any significant numbers. The best way to provide that kind of feedback, I mean, you can unsub if you want, that's perfectly fine. That doesn't make the point, though. Providing feedback in the forums, engaging in conversation with community managers and developers where possible, articulating your points, that provides the best feedback for those kinds of people. So that's what I was looking to.
Also, just like life, I mean, if someone is raging at you, do you stop and go, well, I mean, he has some points in there. I think I'll change my ways.
Yes, I do all the time.
He does do that. When I rage at him, he does do that.
Yeah. First I cry myself to sleep on my huge pillow. And then when I wake up in the morning, I go...
No, your little pillow. Your huge little pillow.
That's what Maki used to say. Your huge little pillow. But I think with that, we are ready to wrap up for the evening. So our little EBC 183 droid here is ready to head out and gain his significantly increased gains for riding the escape pod tonight. So thanks to everyone for joining us on newoverlords.com, on iTunes, YouTube, or live on Twitch. We will stream again next Tuesday night on twitch.tv/newoverlords around 10:30 p.m. Central. Please follow us on Twitter @MaxTheGray and @AIESEMA. And come find us on Jedi Covenant and ask us for an AIE Guild invite. We would love to have you. And we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.